Guys. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to OccultCatTv. So I'm just fresh out the shower, squeaky clean. I wanted to actually tell you guys about my occult journey, or my journey as an occultist, and how honestly I've dedicated the last 7 years of my life to the occult, and as well what has happened with that. So enjoy. Okay, so right as I'm talking, a familiar of Beelzebub actually just flew by me, right? Sometimes you see little insects and they'll just have a different flight pattern, just completely different than most. That's how you know it's a familiar. Same with birds. I'll look up in the sky, I'll see a raven, I'll see a crow, and I'll think, Hecate, or Lucifer. And then I'll look at the ground, I'll think something. This happened the other week, or like 2 weeks ago. I was thinking something about magic, like, am I really am I really at where I think? Should I teach this? And then I look down to the left and I actually see a feather left by a raven. And as I thought those words and then looked down, it was like a video game, right? Like you hear something in your conscious in the game, right? Words on the screen, and then you look over to the side and you see what's happening. It felt exactly like that, as if it was just orchestrated, like a movie. Like, you know that there's things going on in the background of your reality, but yet you don't know what it is. What's the purpose? Why it is. This is why we get into the occult. This is why we become an occultist. It's so that we can understand the secret and the hidden. That is what the occult is. That's what the word occult means. It means secret. Where these secrets kept secret because nobody because everyone's trying to look for them and no one could find them. No. They're kept secret because most people cannot understand them. That's why they're called occult secrets, or occult knowledge, secret knowledge, hidden knowledge. That once we start to understand this hidden knowledge, we actually start to understand ourselves. Because what the occult is, it is the science or study of the true self. This is why when we look at the occult, or we look at magic as a whole, right? We can see things such as, oh, the daemon, the higher self, the true self, the path, the will, the guardian angel. We see all of these different interpretations of what the occult is. And if you ask any occultist, they will give you this analogy or that reasoning, right? Just as I'm giving you my own perspective on what the occult is. So as I've told you guys a little bit about what the occult is from that perspective, let me tell you about how I got into it. How I became a 1% occultist. 1%. Because my journey was honestly pretty severe and painful. But if the least I can do is leave to you guys what I went through and then tell you of that journey, and then if you guys understand it, and if you guys see this, let it be a motivation, knowing that you guys can overcome anything in the occult. Maybe you feel that you're being driven insane. Insanity is a byproduct or creation of the mind. Insanity is not truth. You cannot go insane within the occult. Your mind can be stretched to different dimensions and you cannot handle that. Yes, that can happen. But as for insanity, it is an illusion. Depression, an illusion. There's a lot of these things that we carry into the occult and we think that are so true or real, but it's because of our human emotion, our human understanding of this reality, that's why so many magicians or witches, shamans meet their demise, because they're not understanding the true reality that lies behind the veil within the occult. Why do I work with demons? Why do I work with such powerful, immense beings? Oh, am I a scared little child that needs to be protected by Satan? No. I work with these beings for my own soul's growth and evolution. And at that same time, they protect me from endeavors that might come and try to harm me while I'm walking my path. That is the whole reason for these beings. We use them to build our empire. We use the Goetia and the Qliphoth, these beings, to become them. And from becoming them, we become these energies in order to express them within our reality. When I say that I'm a 1% occultist, I say this not of ego. I say that because I do things that only 1% of occultists do, that 1% of the population do. I know nobody working with the 9 demonic kings or gatekeepers. I don't know that many. I know people that are, but not that many. I don't know that many people that work the primal craft or work with Hecate closely, especially using that initiatory system. I don't know that many people that do rituals daily or invoke daily. I invoked King Paimon for 2 years straight. That's almost 700 invocations, and that's once to twice a day. So that's almost 1,000. That's almost more than 1,000. And I don't know that many people that work with King Paimon that in depth, that work with Lucifer. Well, a lot of people work with Lucifer, but they don't go that in depth with him. So at least with this, I want to let you guys know the journey that I've been through, a little like synopsis, and then as well what I do day to day that makes me differ from most occultists. So know that if you are watching this, you will master yourself, as long as you choose to put in the effort and do the work. So let's continue. I want to say a good 90% of where my wealth came when it comes from the occult is, like I just said, it's the discipline that I put in. It's my work ethic. My work ethic's not the same now as when it was in the Qliphoth, but when I was in the Qliphoth, that is when I was doing everything at an intensely high rate. So before getting into that, hey, what's up, you guys? My name is O'Shea. As well, you can call me Atanu or Cool Cat. I've been traversing the planes of the left-hand path for about 7 years. I started with, you could say, Egyptian magic. I was working with Thoth, Horus, Ma'at, Isis, but mostly Horus and Thoth were my mains when it came to the Egyptian pantheon. And then as I was working with them, I was doing a lot of rituals. I'd go into ritual for about 3 to 8 hours some days. And this isn't like, no beginner in Egyptian magic just does that. They don't just go into their room or their ritual space and just meditate for 3 to 8 hours, going into journeying with Thoth, with Horus. And I didn't know that. I just did what I felt led to do. So especially it was probably from past lives in some way influencing me. Like, this is no different now than that past life. So so I started pulling back the abilities of those past lives, being able to meditate for a long time, being able to astral project or what's it called, remote view at a very high and intense level for at least like where I was at. Because I would remote view a lot, like pretty often, not really even realizing what I was doing. Like, years before that. And then at some point I started to channel Thoth. Didn't really know what that meant or what I was doing, but I was channeling Thoth. And then I started getting into books on channeling and understanding that. And just I started writing down what he'd say, just like as a scribe, right? I became pretty much a scribe of Thoth. I don't know how you guys look at this. Some people look at that as degrading. Oh, I'm not working with Lucifer. I'm not under Lucifer. But it's like Thoth was one of the most important beings in my life just because of how much of a friend he was and how much he was there for me. So thank you, Thoth, for always being there for me. Beautiful being to work with. And then as I was working with Thoth in the Egyptian pantheon, learning magic, I at some point went to Ganesh and Shiva and started working with them actually pretty heavily. Shiva helping me with my Kundalini awakening. I had a lot of just not knowing what I was going through with my Kundalini. Um, and that actually just got more intense when I started working with Lucifer because it was Shiva. I started working with Shiva for a while, just doing chakra meditations, Kundalini, working with Ganesh. Ganesh for abundance, manifestation, understanding myself, grounding, intelligence. And then from there, I was led to go into the darkness by pretty much Thoth and as well Shiva. Shiva eventually revealing to me and showing me he was Lucifer at his core. And as so all that work I did with Shiva show, or not he is Lucifer, but they stem from the same energetic current that goes into both of them at their core. Like right, one current of energy or one pond or river moving this way, but then at some point there's a fork in the road and it splits and it splits and it splits. And that's what creates the personic the the deific masks of the different beings. So this is why people say that this being is this being, because yes, in a sense that being could be that being because of the energy that stems from them that created that current. So it really wasn't until I actually started to go into the path of darkness because I was a white lighter, right? Like I wasn't really as much new age. I go all around my school and I just see so many fucking new age kids talking about crystals or this or that because like yeah, it's fun to talk about a crystal, but you cannot talk about crystal endlessly with someone. I mean again, like I am an occultist, I use crystals, but it's just like there's so much more to life that you guys could talk about besides just this one thing that's new age. They're even creating a new age religion at my school or something called like I don't even remember the name. But so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I was pretty much a white lighter. I was always doing things for other people energetically and always being there for people, right? To the point that for me, nobody was there for me, which put me into a dark night of the soul, very heavy dark night of the soul where I mean, I did have friends and people around me, but nothing was helping me. I felt immensely lonely. I could be in a group of like a million people, them all focusing on me, and I'd still be pretty lonely, at least back then, and that's what I felt. I was also depressed highly at this time, always waking up just with dread, depression, doubt, right? And then I started to realize that at some point I was being spiritually or psychically attacked. And then it's funny how I removed all that, started working with, I started working with demons, started removing all of that influence that was affecting me, right? For me, I realized that in some ways I was targeted by a lot of Masons. I don't know why. I don't really interact with them, but I noticed that a lot of their energy when I was tracing the link to why I was feeling that way, it was not just myself. A lot of us can have curses placed on us or hexes or these energies that we cannot deal with because they're too much for us. So until we start to do the work and remove all of that, we're coded in an illusion. And that's what cursing can do to people when another curses, whether it be the evil eye, um, throwing an actual curse at someone, or just people being jealous of you. In high school, I wasn't one that tried to be popular, but from just knowing people, I became popular, and I noticed a lot of people were jealous of me. I didn't care about popularity, this or that, but there are people that when you now enter the circle and everyone's looking at you, talking to you, those people don't want you to rise. They don't want that because you took that away from them. But again, you were just someone that really was just talking to people and being a friend. And that really shows who people are at their core. So as I started to delve into the darkness, this is when I started to, for the beginning of my experience, it wasn't too bad. I started working with Lucifer, doing the Temple of Ascending Flames invocation, and that as I invoked him, right, I actually noticed that my Kundalini started to go off the charts and 2000 watts went through my system. And I was just like in the ritual space. It's like I was just wiped clean, like a hard drive, right? but it was it was destroying all of this illusion. Everything no longer serving me. For 2 weeks I was just on the I was on the couch. I was just laying down. I didn't know what happened, where my reality was. I could have stayed like that. I could have or stayed like that, went back to a 9 to 5, hated my life, thought Lucifer cursed me, did this or that, like, well, what a lot of people do, right? No, I held my ground. I understood that this is a part of the journey. This is a part of the trial, right? So for 2 weeks, I started to gather myself. Well, if that is reality, if that was real, what do I need to do? I need to understand this. I need to do that. And then, as well as seeing a Reiki lady at the same time, or shamanic Reiki. So there was just a lot of things that I was going through and I was dealing with all at once. So I had my Kundalini ignited by Lucifer to a very high extent and high degree. I was just going into the Qliphoth, not understanding the Qliphoth. I started pathworking the Qliphoth, right? This is when I was more, and this is when I started to go into hell. I was already in hell. I was already depressed. My life was destroyed. I had nothing else. I had nothing else. The occult was all I had. This was my freedom. For me, if this didn't work, then nothing did. I didn't care. This is the only thing that had to work. So as I get into Qliphoth, I'm putting all of my time and effort into my rise, into my ascension. Do I know where I'm going fully? No. Working with this being, that being, Lilith, Lucifer, Nama, Asmodee, Azazel, Lucifuge, King Paimon, right? Horus, Thoth. I'm working with all of these beings pretty much at once as a whirlwind, right? Trying to understand where I am, where I'm going, what I'm meant to do, why am I on this path. This deity is telling me this, that deity is telling me that. It's all coming together, taking a really long time. I feel like I'm being driven insane. I don't know what's happening to me or truly where I'm going. But at some point, I was led to Source. But before I was led to Source, I was very chaotic because of the Qliphoth. This is what the energies can do if you are not transducing them, right? These energies of rage, destruction, empowerment, right? If you're just sitting there in your room all day long doing nothing with these energies, you go crazy. Why? You're not grounding any energies, you're not expelling or using them. What did I use them for? I rap hours a day at times, 3 to 4. I do music for hours a day on top of that, 2 to 3 at least. I make videos, I make courses, I do ritual, I empower myself. These are all the things that I do. As I said, that 555 for me, Lucifer's number on this just appeared on the screen. And with that, I want to actually lead into what was my routine while in the Qliphoth. And I would literally wake up, envision my day a little bit, invoke Lucifer or invoke King Paimon, a being, right? And then I would, after invoking, I would kind of like calm my freshen my mind, go outside, do something, make something, and then I come back into my room and I just start doing work, whatever it might be. If I'm trying to like learn the ritual more in depth or learn the Qliphoth, then I would start doing that. I just start doing all that at a more in depth rate. So I went from studying the Qliphoth heavily, like waking up, okay, I need to do this sphere and understand that and do this. And not that I was doing spheres every day, right? It took me, in all honesty, 4 years to get out of the Qliphoth. I did not know where I was or what I was doing. So it took about 2 to 4 years, like 3 years, to get out of the Qliphoth. And this is with intense ritual every day. What do I mean by intense? Why do armchair cultists exist? Because this energy is real. When you are invoking it, you might feel off, you might feel imbalanced, but you still have to stick with it. You still have to continue, you have to push forward. There's moments where, yes, I wanted to die, I wanted to end it all. But could I? No. I know what happens if I do that. I go down more levels. That's why being a slacker, that's why being undisciplined and not having the work ethic to actually get through the Qliphoth is what is a lot of people's demise. Is it the Qliphoth at its core? No, it is you. It is what you choose to do. It is your life. You can either ruin it with these energies, or you can choose to embrace these energies, subside to the chaos, subside to all of that, and then dissolve it. And then from that become your true self. That is the whole purpose to the Qliphoth, right? But a lot of people go into the Qliphoth of ego, right? In the beginning, I was egoic, not in the way that most people are, where they have to like lose their ego. I had no ego, so from them they were always pounding me down, instilling me with things, and I just had to accept it because that's what I perceived reality to be. But then at some point, they showed me to build my ego up, and then from building it, I knew what an ego was. I knew what it was to be my own sense of self, my persona. But then from that, going through to Oth, at some point I had to dissolve that. So it's good that they brought me up with an ego, they showed me how to destroy it. And then from that, I'm now creating my own persona, my own spiritual ego, you could say. But it's not an ego because it's created outside of, well, it's created inside, but outside of you, you could say. That you are the one projecting the mask and now choosing for what it to be instead of the mask choosing what you're supposed to be. Stick to the script. Say this. You've always said that, right? Because when you do all of this work to bring yourself out of the ego, you are now a free agent. You have the ability to think, perceive, understand how you desire, how you choose, even choosing the way in which you perceive. Having many different aspects and trains of thought, but at the same time having no solidity in that specific persona, but choosing for yourself who you desire to become, what you desire to embody. So to continue, so I'd wake up, I would meditate for a little bit, envisioning my life as well. Then I would invoke a spirit or a deity before going out about my day. I would write, I would study, I would meditate multiple times a day. I'd at least try to meditate for 3 or 4 times a day. I'd be meditating for 4 hours a day while I was mostly in the Qliphoth. Do I have this work ethic the same way? No, it's a lot different. But while I was in the Qliphoth, I was always having these energies. I have to know this, I have to know that, I have to go there, I have to understand this. So I would be doing at least like 3 to 4 pretty intense rituals a day and invoking at least 2 to 3 times. Was I able to ground this? Yes. Was it chaotic and intense? Yes. Do I recommend this? Not to the extent I was doing it, but I do recommend that if you are an armchair occultist or you desire to take your practice a little bit more serious, yeah, instead of just not invoking or reading just books, invoke at least 1 time a day. Invoke 2 times a day, 3 times a day, morning, noon, night. Notice your psyche and the difference when you invoke. Right? Write it down. 1111. Just saw that on the screen. Write it down. Meditate on what you've invoked. Try to understand and then piece all of this together. And then that's what I think. That is what an organized person does. That is what someone that is presencing these energies, but not letting them to override or affect them. They're able to organize this energy and then tame it into something that they're creating. And that's really what what I recommend that you guys do. When I was working with a lot of this creative energy, like Asmodee, Azazel, Lucifer, Lilith, right? The only reason I maintained my sanity was because I was creating with it. I was making music, I was making songs, I was doing different things that I thought were just me creating and having fun. But then when I realized that everything that I created, I evolved from. So all those thousands of songs I made, when I just woke up and would just make music for hours, a song is just 3 minutes. Why did it take me hours to make music? Because I wanted to master my craft and I wanted to go in depth. It's the same with ritual and as well doing ritual. When I'm someone that when I know that I need to do something, that when I love it, I go all in to its full potential. I was someone that used to play a lot of video games, watch a lot of anime, played a lot of video games, just hung out with friends. That's pretty much my life. I love to do that and then as well study psychology and philosophy. When I got into the Qliphoth, I started to realize how much of a video game it was. in its interactions, in the way in which you work with different beings, you interact with different players among the realms, right? I started to truly see that life was a simulation, that it was a holographic matrix encapsulated into light, but we aren't light at our core. We are immense darkness. We are dark beings. As Bobby Hemmett would say, we are beings of immense chaos, especially if you're melanated. You have more chaos within you. And as I started to pathwork this system of the Qliphoth, I truly started to understand the amount of power it held. That why is Lilith in this video game? Why is Lucifer in this video game? Why is there a show called Lucifer? As I was inducted into the night side, into the Qliphoth, all of this delusion and paranoia of the 1%, 1%, why is life so horrible? The elite, 1%. All of that started to dissolve and be deleted and replaced with, oh, the 1% are ruled with Lucifer. Lucifer rules the 1%. He is the god of the 1%. I started to see from the eyes of the Qliphoth why life was like this, that why these beings worked in this nature and in this way, that they're not working against us. The elite isn't putting Lucifer against us. Lucifer's not using the elite against us. No, it's the elite using Lucifer and using those energies. And as they do, it's to amass wealth, create an empire, learn occult knowledge and secrets. It doesn't matter who comes to these beings. They will show you reality. They will show you who you are and who you're meant to be. They will help you to understand a greater reality that is at hand and in existence. That's what happens when you are brought into the night side, or you initiate within the Qliphoth. You start to see through the illusions. You are given the eyes to see, first through Nama, and then through Lilith, and then into Samael. Samael, where you will be poisoned by the venom of God, and everything that you perceived, all of this religious bullshit, is thrown out the door, thrown out the matrix. And now, as you a clean slate looking at reality, what is reality if it truly was not how I perceived? Exactly. Perfect. Now we uncover that. We dissolve that. And as you dissolve that, you are uncovering your truths yourself, as each part of yourself comes out and comes to the forefront. It comes to the surface. This is what it is to uncover yourself, to know your truths, to know who you are, and as well who you're becoming, so that you can use this in your alchemical becoming, the alchemical recreation of the self. You must dissolve yourself, going through the negrito phase, right? The blackening of yourself. We can call this the dark night of the soul. And then from the dark night of the soul, we are reborn as the phoenix from our ashes. But we had to go through the negrito phase, the dissolution of our impurities, in order to understand who we are at our core as the pure, true self, the pure being that we are within. And this is what it is to uncover the daemon. We uncover the first half and know and understand the daemon at first glance within Tifereth, within the sephiroth. And then as we go into the Qliphoth till we get to Thagirion, it is then the black sun that we have ignited the moon aspect of our daemon, where we had the sun, the solar, now we have the moon, the black sun. And then we are combining these energies. And then from combining these energies, we are dissolving ourself, and we are going into our daemon. We are uncovering, awaken, and becoming our daemon. And it is from becoming our daemon that this is how we are stepping into our true spiritual power. This is why you went into the Qliphoth, whereas not many do. You went in to gain mass amounts of power, your power, your true self. And then from gaining that, you are becoming your greatest version. You are becoming a 1% occultist, right? Because you woke up, you were disciplined, you did the meditation, you exercised, you dissolved your chakras, you dissolved your kundalini or subsided it, right? You awakened the daemon within. You did this journey. You went through the sephiroth and the qliphoth, all for what? To destroy yourself? No, to make it out, to be crowned at thaumiel by Lucifer himself after fighting him. This is what it is to be a 1% occultist. It's to understand the game. Don't hate the player. Don't even hate the game. Hate yourself for not trying hard enough. And I truly say that in the sense that if you desired to be progressed on your path a lot more than you are now, you would be there. If just like happiness, right? Everyone wants to be happy. If you were meant to be happy, you'd just fucking be happy. No, you have to do the work. You have to earn happiness. You have to achieve your happiness. You must achieve your crown. Everything that you do, you have to achieve. There is no fucking endless mumbling. Oh, but I couldn't meditate. I couldn't do the. Shut the fuck up. You couldn't do this today. You couldn't do that today. Well, then you can die to Qurans on. Who gives a fuck? In all honesty. But that's why I'm here. It's because I don't want people to go insane. I don't want people to die in the Qliphoth. I want you guys to rise up and to become your greatest versions, to become your greatest self using these energies. Again, none of this is of ego. This is to show you that if I went through this, you can too. I've died multiple times before. I've had multiple near deaths. I've had my brain stretched here and there to the different ends of the universe. I understand. But I still do not complain. Yeah, I'm human. I get mad. But I do not complain about where I'm at. I love myself for what I'm going through. And I love the demons for the challenges that they give me. Why? Because from them I have rose stronger than ever. This world does not matter to me. It is but one world and many. And the fact that we let society judge us so much, or others judge us so much, that just shows we're truly not, why we don't have this power. Because if we did, we'd give it to the likes of society, to another person that is just going to rule and consume us. So this is why in the occult, if you desire to be a 1% occultist, you must destroy and consume the world. How do you become an elite? How do you become a 1% occultist? By using the same energies that these occultists that came before us used, right? While they're using chaos, we use source. So you work with the demons, you work with the angels, you work with everything to become the all, to become source itself, in order to ascend out of the Qliphoth. Maybe, and then work with Amalek, right? The black dragon behind the Qliphoth. And then from working with Amalek, you understand how to consume and source chaos, so that you can light a wildfire of source throughout this reality. It is only by becoming source that you can become a 1% occultist. If not, you will be drawn into chaos. You will be drawn into order. What is needed is chaos and order, and that is my symbolism. That is my seal. And with that, what does the symbol on my channel, my sigil, stand for? Self-mastery, growth, evolution, ascension, abundance, wealth. All of these things are encapsulated in one symbol that if you look at, every time you look at my channel, the symbol on my page, it is empowering you. You know, if you are for me and this content and you come onto my page to learn, it helps you to grow. If not, then it's just consuming the fuck out of you. right? That's how it works. You coming into my domain, either learn my ways or get the fuck out. And that's just how it works, right? Why go to Mammon's house and then be like, I don't want to learn this? Then you can out the door, bitch. Out the door. So yeah, with that, just kind of a brief summary and some occult motivation on how you can become a 1% occultist. No, did I give you rituals and this and that? Not really. But if you read in between the lines, you can definitely see that. But as for this, it was more for motivation and to empower you guys. So embrace the 1% occult lifestyle. Embrace the 1% occult mindset and become a 1% occultist. Do what you need to. Study when you need to. Meditate. Stay hydrated. Stay elevated. And embrace the path and journey. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Namaste. I'll also be making a video on 1%, the 1% mindset, or the mindset of a 1% occultist. So with that, peace. I'm out. OccultCatTv. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, whatever. I don't